I'm gonna stitch this at the front. If it make you pick a data center, I would recommend you start here on Ether. And then if you pick a world, just pick anything. It doesn't matter for now. Just pick any random world. We're gonna pick the world on the patch day. Okay, this is gonna be a test video. This may be a little bit different depending if you're just starting the game, but I'm gonna click here, make a new character, click OK. Pick Lalafell, Plainsfolk. Something super obvious here. We're gonna change his face, change his skin color, this hairdo. Let's make his hair something. Here. Let's go to face paint. Face paint is something that you can change easily. Okay. Here. I'm gonna click confirm. It will ask me to save. I click yes. I pick a save slot. I'm gonna type something here. Test. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna exit out here. Once you get to that save screen, you can exit out and wait for the patch. But here we're gonna go to new character, load appearance data. Okay. I'm gonna scroll to the save slot we use. So this one, you can see in comment it says yes. Click yes, and look, there he is. Okay. This is a take 2. I had an unexpected surprise when I was loading into my character. So this is a different character. I'm gonna see if the pre-made hotbars are what I expect. I swear they might have changed how the pre-made hotbars are made because some of them are very bad. Never mind. We're already loading in. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so this is what you might see when you first load into the game. You're gonna see auto attack, return, teleport, sprint, and then true thrust. True thrust is the first Lancer skill. You're gonna see something about controller, select controller, read through the menu. You're gonna see something called play guide. I would suggest you delete it. Just click no on it. I just want to show you here some settings I would recommend you to do. First things first, I'm gonna hold L2. These menus are held with L2 and R2. I'm gonna touch the touchpad. By touching the touchpad, you can edit the actions and you can move them around. So if I click square, I select the auto attack. If I click circle, they swap with the return. You can see their spell names here, in case you're not aware. My first recommendation, we're gonna delete auto attack. My second recommendation, we're gonna move teleport to hotbar 8. So if you hold R1, you're gonna see a hotbar over here. This is hotbar 8. It looks like this has been pre-set up. I have no idea why this would be pre-set up. I never touched this character on controller, but I guess this is how it's supposed to be normally. If you see it like this, then this is how it's supposed to look like. And then because we already have a teleport here, we can just delete it. How do we delete it? By clicking square, in this case, X twice. We already clicked it once to edit the hotbar. If I click it another time, it's gonna let me delete. I click X to delete, and same thing for return. I recommend having like your 8th hotbar look something like this. Now we're gonna go into important controller settings. We're gonna go to character configuration, control settings. We're gonna leave this on legacy, but if you really think standard is what you want to play as, you could do it. Here, like if I'm holding back, I do like a backwards walk. You'll walk slower when running backwards, so you have to like turn your camera. If you want to actually run full speed, I would recommend legacy. This is what I normally do. Flying mount. If you have a keyboard, I would suggest you enable direct chat. If you do have a keyboard, but if not, I'll show you how to use the keyboard. This cutscene skipping, I would recommend it, especially once you get higher level and you're like rerunning dungeons for experience. I would just enable this. Camera controls, if you like reversing your X-axis, this is your choice. first person. We're not gonna worry about first person. And here's your turn speed. This is your sensitivity. Here, target. I'm gonna recommend using this. Automatically lock on target. Automatically face. Disable targeting. Switch target circle. I leave that off normally. Auto target. I would recommend this, especially because when you're in a dungeon, you're gonna have enemies die and you're gonna have to rechange your target. So I just do line of sight and I just auto target. I don't touch this, but this is tap targeting. This will be explained later in the game when you need to select multiple enemies. I would recommend setting this ring thing to limit ring and press action twice. I can't show this off on this character, but I feel like once you get an access to a ground targeting action, you will thank me once you realize this is on. Okay. Highlight potential targets, display target rings. This is all fine. Again, you can modify this. Click filter settings. You can modify this if you want. I don't normally touch this. Filters, I don't normally touch this either. This is up to you. Character, display headgear. This is stuff that you can swap, that changes just depending on what you want. I think display headgear is for every character, so if you want to just see every character without their helmet. And over here, battle effects. For now, just because you're starting off, I think it'd be fun to see this battle effects, but I like to use show limited for party and everything else. Except for PvP, I normally use this combo. Show all, limited, and all. I highly recommend against none. Do not use none, and you should set your own effects to show all, especially if you try to become a fisher. Now we're gonna go to UI settings. I'm just gonna scroll down. When I see something important, I'm gonna point it out. Here, recommendations. I'm gonna tell you to turn both of these off. Turn play guide and recommendations off. And portrait, this is a nice thing. I can tell you about it later. HUD. Read through this. Eventually, everything will be thing. Look, you see that thing in the bottom right? That's the inventory grid. EXP bar. A lot of this you will eventually see. I recommend you just do this. Display minimap. Oh, clock. I like to set local time and Eorzea time. If you look at the top right, there. Eorzea time is the world runs on like a 24-minute timer, so that helps you keep track of the in-game time if you're doing anything time sensitive. This is all target stuff, party list. Party list, one solo. Hotbar settings. Now this is the important thing. Display. We're gonna show recast timers. Look. This only affects keyboard. I would leave this off personally. I leave this on normally if I'm on keyboard, but we're just gonna leave this off for now. Play hotbar numbers, that's fine. Include hotbar cycling buttons, yes. And yes. You can see this is related to keyboard. We're gonna go to sharing. We're gonna go down to cross hotbar. I recommend you leave this 5, 6, 7, and 8 set. What does this mean? When you get another job, let's say you pick up samurai, these 4 hotbars are gonna be the same. This is where you're gonna put like your emotes, your mounts, your minions, anything you want to have quick access to across all your jobs. This 1, 2, 3, and 4 is where your main jobs are gonna be. Now we're gonna go to enable cross hotbar. Enable cross hotbar. This is how you play with the controller. Always display hotbar, use pet hotbar, use pet hotbar for mount actions, accessories, enable duty action input. This is something that's very important. Do not turn this off. You could set some transparency. I leave this off. I would recommend touching this after we go through all the settings here. Cross hotbar controls. Yes, I will tell you to please use hold. I like hold. This is up for preference. I'm going to set this to this. If I click left, you're going to see that the two left side of the halves light up. If I click this upper one, you're going to see the left side lights up, right side lights up. I prefer this top one. Now this is the most important setting I want you to turn on. Always display WXHB. Do not turn this on. And I would recommend you set this to on. You're going to see it move slightly. I'll cut to me editing the HUD soon. I'm running tight on time. And I will leave this. I would personally increase this just like a apologies for the cut. I had to test this out because I always get confused on this. Okay, we're going to enable expanded and WXHB. For expanded controls, I like to set this for cross hotbar 3 right and cross hotbar 3 left. What this does is that if I hold L2 and then I press R2, it uses the right half of the third hotbar. If I do R2 into L2, it uses the left half of the third hotbar. You're going to rarely use this, but there's going to be a few jobs, especially the tanks, where you're probably going to want to set this up because they have a lot of actions. WXHB is going to be the other actions you're going to want. You're going to want to enable both directional and action. It's going to get a little cluttered. I'm going to make a guide for how to modify this HUD so it's a little bit more clean. We're going to cycle up right and cycle up left. So if you double tap, it moves over to the next one. And I can't show you this, but then we're going to go down here. We're going to enable customization for when weapon is drawn. And I'm going to just set it to these 4. There is a thing where if you just tap R1, it cycles through. So that's different. We're not going to enable PvP settings. We're going to just leave them as is. And now, look, if I tap R1, it cycles through everything that has an action. So I'm going to hold my weapon. If I tap R1, it doesn't cycle into hotbar 8. That is what we want. Why we want to turn that on. If I hold R2 and then press L2, it uses the left half of hotbar 3. And what I like to use hotbar 4 for is mainly, I go to here to general, character. We scroll up a little bit to actions and traits, general, and I put my limit break here. This is like the big one. You could maybe put your duty actions here, but in normal gameplay, you're probably just pressing L3 and R3. And over here, I'm not going to explain how to set up your hotbar right now, because that depends on jobs, and I don't have every single Dragoon job action here. But if I click square, it lets me put the action on the hotbar, and you can have multiple of the same action. And I'm going to recommend this highly. Okay, I'm going to click action and traits. I'm going to scroll up. Never mind, I'm not going to scroll up. I'm going to click X. Scroll up. So I'm on class. I'm going to scroll up. It is going to put me to display job descriptions. I'm going to hit right on the D-pad. We're going to see switch view. I'm going to click X. This is what I highly recommend. This tells you how you're going to be playing the job. You're going to do true thrust, purple thrust into full thrust. Read these descriptions because this is how you know. This is how you play the job, and this will help you like pre-plan your HUD. So for Dragoon, because of certain higher level stuff, I like to do it in this pattern. My bad, it's this pattern here. So two true thrusts, one for the right and one for the left. And then the second action up here, and the third action over here. That is how I like to set up the hotbar for Dragoon. They're going to see why I use two true thrusts. It's going to make a little bit more sense once you get to higher levels, once you unlock more Dragoon. There is more stuff here. This is just because this is Lancer technically and not Dragoon. I'm gonna work on making a HUD section soon, but I'm gonna have to go soon.